Well, hello, everybody. Thanks for joining us. We're thrilled to have with us here today Matt Alford, who is going to be joining us at this year's 2019 National Strip Tillage Conference, August 1st and 2nd in Peoria, Illinois. Matt's going to be joining us for a classroom presentation where he's going to be covering some of the cover crop experiments that he's doing on his operation. So thrilled to have Matt with us here today. And we'd love to have you maybe start out, Matt, just share a little bit about your background, your operation, and how you guys got started in strip tilling.
Thanks, Jack. Glad to be here. My father-in-law, we first got started strip tilling with the purchase of a Soil Warrior in 2009, where he transitioned from full-scale conventional tillage to strip tillage with the hopes that he could maintain yields and just be much more efficient with fertilizers and fuels and trips across the field. And basically, he saw no initial yield drag whatsoever. And so we've stuck with it, and I think we've maintained or increased our yields because of it. But more so, we're much more efficient with our fertilizer and fuel use and just trips across the field. So we've been strip tilling since 2009. Started using covers in 2013 with the prevented plant acres we had. Saw some really, really neat things and some things that got us excited enough to say we got to make this fit into our system somehow. We had areas that received parts of fields that were prevent plant and another parts that were not. And there was 15 to 20 bushel difference the following year on the areas that were prevented planted with a full-scale diverse mix of covers compared to the areas that were only corn and soybean rotation. So that really opened our eyes and thought we had to integrate the system. So we've been trying to figure out the best way to do that cost effectively and efficiently, trying to combine it with passes we're already making in the field and looking at things of that nature, seeding rates, and looking at a lot of different variables, trying to hone in the best way to do it.
Yeah, that's certainly something we're seeing, cover cropping becoming much more important in a strip till system. And I know with some of the data we've collected over the years, we continue to see an increase in strip tillers that really want to integrate that aspect, for a number of reasons. From your perspective, what are some of the objectives you guys have looked to accomplish with cover cropping in your strip till system?
Well, that's the biggest thing. You hear a lot of the benefits, but they're hard to put numbers on. And we try to critically analyze everything we do on the farm. It has to make sense dollars-wise, because if it's not economically sustainable, it's not going to be any other sort of sustainable. So it first and foremost has to be that. So we're trying to find a way we can maybe pull dollars out of inputs we're already spending, especially chemical use and tillage. I think we can reduce both of those by using cover crops. So basically, our strategy is to shift inputs that we're spending towards a more cover crop base, which will be better environmentally and financially, I think, for us in the long run.
Mm-hmm. Well, and it's interesting because year in and year out, and this will be our 6th year for the strip till event, but we tend to get a lot of feedback, a lot of comments from attendees asking for more information, more sessions on cover cropping and how some farmers are successfully being able to integrate different seeding methods, different varieties within their strip till system. So clearly a hot topic, we continue to hear a lot about. So I'm sure there'll be a lot of interest in some of the things you're going to talk about. Wondering if you could maybe just give a little bit of a preview on a couple of the highlights, things that you might want to be covering within your session at the conference this year.
Sure. So I guess different things we've tried. We tried interseeding 2 years ago was our first year, and we tried some cereal rye across 3 different hybrids to see if it was a sunlight issue. It basically only worked with one hybrid. It just needed more sun. The shorter and the more open canopied the hybrid, it worked. Otherwise, we've dropped cereal rye from interseeding. With the Minnesota corn growers, we did a study. I got a grant to evaluate interseeding at different times, trying to evaluate V3 versus V5 seeding. And we did that without spraying a post-herbicide application whatsoever. Because one of the big issues with interseeding is the timing of your chemical application. So we sprayed a pre-emerge residual and then came back at both V3 and V5 and sprayed no post-emerge. Saw very adequate weed control, and we were up to $15 an acre ahead from both a yield standpoint and chemical savings where we did that.
Sounds like there's going to be a lot to look forward to within your session. I know you've got a lot of detail, and you guys have been really looking to put some numbers behind some of the value you're seeing with cover crops. So I would expect, Matt, you may have a number of questions from attendees in your session, but I'm sure you'll welcome those, and they'll be very good and provide a lot of information to folks that are going to come out to see you.
Yeah, you bet. We'll do the best we can, and if we don't know, we'll just tell you. So
Excellent.
ask whatever.
Perfect. Well, again, thanks, Matt. I appreciate you joining us. Looking forward again to having you out at the conference this year, August 1st and 2nd in Peoria. And again, with the topic on cover crops, I think there's going to be some really good information there, and encourage everybody to come on out and check out Matt's session and the event. And we'll see you in Peoria. Thanks again for joining us today, Matt.
You bet. Thank you for the invite, and I'm looking forward to it.
Awesome.